Price, ladies and gentlemen. Drugs will do that to you. He's like, how do you want me to introduce you? And I was like, just Patrick Tyrell. He's like, owner and founder? Nope, just Patrick Tyrell. Thanks. You did good. You're doing good. Everybody did good tonight. Round of applause for everybody we've seen. I am exhausted. I got up at 4:30 in the morning. I had to be on set today at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's been a crazy day ever since. I just got here like right before you guys got here, and I'm totally exhausted. I had a Red Bull. I'm waiting for that to kick in so I can remember all my jokes. Do you guys like puns? It's good enough. All right. It's good enough. It's good enough. How does a kosher butcher make his mom proud? How? Look, Mom, no hams. How do you? Ooh, that's one of my better ones. It's gonna be all downhill from here. I choose Venetian over vertical in a blind taste test. How do you cook a vampire? Sunny side up. So I got back from Okinawa last Wednesday. It's really hot there right now. It's really hot, and I'm so happy to be back in Hawaii where it's nice and cool. You guys might not think so, but it's super cool here compared to Okinawa. It's very hot there. I missed all kinds of acting jobs while I was here. I missed an acting job where I was supposed to be a stand-in for somebody, and when you're a stand-in for somebody, you kind of look like that person. I get that a lot. I have a comedy CD called "I'm Not That Guy." I like to do impressions, and when Aloha was filmed here, I was Bradley Cooper's stand-in, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool when I looked up somewhere online that Bradley Cooper also does impressions. So I thought tonight, just for you guys, I would do my impression of Bradley Cooper doing an impression of me for the rest of the show. He's going to do great, believe me. I've seen it happen. I'm a method actor. I'm a pretty good method actor also. I got a part as a vampire. I didn't get the job though because I tried to do rehearsals in front of the mirror, couldn't. Well, I was in Okinawa. I kind of learned what karma was. Like I wasn't really sure what. I'm from upstate New York. We don't use words like karma. So I learned kind of what karma meant, and I thought back to my life, and I tried to think of something that would relate to karma. And I thought when I was a young child, I don't even know how young, but my mother used to have a friend, and I would go over with her to that friend's house, and she had a son. So the son was my age. I think he was a year or two older than me. His name was Matt, and he was not my friend. He was my mother's friend's son. We didn't get along. I know that because when I was over in the basement, a basement is where they dig a hole and put the kids in upstate New York. They don't have those here. Not the same kind. But I was in the basement with Matt. My mother was upstairs with her friend, day drinking, I can only assume. And we're down there, and Matt had a puppet, and I think it was a dog. I don't really remember, but in my mind, I think it was a dog. And I wanted the puppet. So I was like, hey, Matt, can I have the puppet? And he was like, sure, have the puppet. And he opened up a sleeping bag, and he threw the dog puppet into the sleeping bag, into the bottom of the sleeping bag. And I was like, all right. And I went and crawled in to get it. That's how young I was, apparently. It was one of those sleeping bags where there was only one way in or out. And there was no hole at the bottom of the sleeping bag, which I found out when I got there. And Matt sat on the hole that I was supposed to crawl back out of. So I did what a small child would do, and I screamed for my mother. That's why I was assuming she was day drinking, because I was down there for at least a week. It was a long time. I don't remember how long it was, but it seemed like a really long time in my little kid head. And screaming, I was yelling. I remember it was a long time. Finally, obviously, he let me out. I'm here. So he let me out. I don't know how long it was. It seemed like a very long time. It was very traumatic for me. I left New York, not because of that, but I left New York. And I thought, I wonder, I tried to think back of what happened to Matt. And I did some research, and I found out that Matt got involved in drugs in high school. So this was many years later, but he got involved in drugs in high school, and probably started out with the small stuff like pot. You know, that's a gateway drug. It's not really, I don't think. You have to ask the comedians. So I assumed he got into the harder and harder stuff. He ran out of money. He started stealing stuff. He actually went into a 7-Eleven and held it up by gunpoint, and then came out of the 7-Eleven, and there were police officers all over the place, and waved his gun a little too much, and they shot him dead, coming out of the 7-Eleven after he stole it. So so I do believe in karma. I believe he locked me in a sleeping bag. I still have claustrophobia to this day. Matt's good. He's nothing. He has no problems right now. Yeah. So there's that. How do you teach Why is it so hard to teach a gay man chess? You got to tell him the queen's not the most important piece. What's a homophobic father's least favorite song? The sun will come out tomorrow. I actually have a gay brother, and he's 8 years older than me, and I was wondering what was different about him. He's a good-looking guy, and always never had a date that I knew of. Never had a date, but he always told me he was going on dates, but I never saw him with any girls. And I was like, that's weird. And I was like, hey, you ever go on any dates? He's like, yeah, I go on dates all the time. I go dates with all kinds of people. And I was like, oh, where do you go? And he's like, well, we go to the movies, or we go out to eat. And I was like, oh, okay. And I kept trying to. I was a little kid, but I was pretty smart, and I was trying to figure things out a little bit. I didn't know what gay was, but I was alive during disco. So I was like, I'm not getting it. So I kept asking him questions about his dates, and then finally he was like, I'm going on a date tonight. And I was like, yeah, well, who are you going on a date with? And he goes, they're a redhead. And I was like, a redhead? I was like, does the carpet match the drapes? And he goes, no, it doesn't match the drapes, it matches the duvet cover. And I was like, you're gay! Straight people don't know what duvet covers are. I love my brother, and he okayed all these jokes after me saying them for a couple years. He's over it now. Not over being gay, he's still gay. No jokes in the world can change that kind of thing. But there used to be a sign waving. There was a sign waving a bunch of years ago, probably 5 years ago now, at the Capitol building on Baratania. Very busy street for those of you who don't live here. And I was going to Jose's show downtown, and I was on the show, and I was with my wife, and we're driving down Baratania, and we witnessed this sign waving. We knew it was kind of going on. We knew the thing was going on, but we're witnessing this sign waving. So I'm driving down the road, and there's a sign that's being waved. It's like, marriage is for Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. I was like, okay. And then another one's like, honk if you believe in marriage equality. And I was like, honk, honk. And the next one, like further down, it was like, honk if you believe that gay people are going to hell. And I didn't honk. Right after that, it was like, honk if you believe in marriage equality, whatever. It was, I don't remember the signs, but I honked at that sign, and the person before that sign waved at me. And I was like, whoa, wait, what's going on? And so I pull over, and my wife's like, what are you pulling over for? And I was like, first of all, do you notice something wrong with my alignment? And she goes, no, I think you're chaotic neutral. And I was like, oh. But I was like, wait here. And I got out of the car. It's a Dungeons and Dragons joke. So I got out of the car and I start walking back. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'll be right back. So I get out and I was like, hey, sir. And he goes, hey, how you doing? And I was like, I'm doing fine. You waved when I honked, and I wasn't waving at your sign. I wasn't honking at your sign. And he's like, huh? And I was like, I was waving at that guy's sign, and I saw, I'm a girl. And I was like, oh, sorry. Short hair, overalls. I couldn't tell. But I was like, whatever. I was waving at that person's sign over there. And he's like, what do you care? What do you care anyway? That's all you drive by. You had a girl in the car. You have a wedding ring on, which is in my car right now. As long as I say that I'm married, it's just the same thing. He's like, what do you care? And I was like, I'll tell you where I care, sir. First of all, like I told you guys earlier, my brother's gay, and I want him to live a happy life, no matter who he's with. Second of all, I'm studying to be a divorce lawyer right now. Statistically, in about 7 years, my profits should double. I'm almost out of time. I want to leave you guys on a high note, something Barry White could never do. I can't. Was there a microphone stand? Oh, yep. There it is. It was hiding. I want to leave you guys with my signature joke, if that's all right with you. All right. Hey, thank you guys very much. My name is Patrick Tyrell. Let's hear it for your host, Shane Lucas Price.